Hello, and welcome to Podcast for English. My name is Linda. I'm really happy you're here today. This channel is for people who want to learn English in a simple and natural way. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to speak fast. You don't need to understand every word. You only need to listen. You can listen while you rest. You can listen while you work. You can listen while you live your daily life. Take a deep breath, relax your body, clear your mind. Now, let's begin today's English lesson together. In today's podcast, we are talking about learning English, but not learning English by changing your whole life. Not learning English by studying all day. Today's topic is simple: how to learn English while living your life. Many people believe learning English requires sacrifice. They think, I must stop living. I must stop enjoying my day. I must study more and more. This belief creates pressure, and pressure makes learning hard. Today, we are here to look at a different idea. You do not need to pause your life to learn English. You do not need to wait for free time. You do not need to live like a student to make progress. You can learn English inside your real life, inside your routine, inside your work, inside your daily moments. This episode is for you if you feel busy. It is for you if you feel tired. It is for you if you feel guilty for not studying enough. You are not lazy. You are living, and learning can happen while you live. In this podcast, we will talk about how small daily actions create learning, how English fits naturally into real life, and why consistency matters more than study hours. You do not need a perfect plan. You only need a gentle connection. As you listen, do not think about what you should do. Just listen. Let this idea settle quietly. You can Learn English without stopping your life. In fact, living your life may be the best way to learn English. Real life is the best classroom for English. Not a textbook, not a test. Life. Many people think learning English must happen at a desk. They imagine books, rules, exercises. But language was not created in classrooms. Language was created in life, in conversations, in stories, in daily moments. When you live your life, you are surrounded by meaning. Meaning is what language needs. Real life gives context. You hear English for a reason. You listen to understand something. This purpose helps the brain learn. When language has a purpose, it stays longer. Real life also gives repetition. You hear similar phrases, you hear common words, you hear familiar situations. This repetition is natural. It does not feel like studying. It feels like living. Real life also creates emotion. You feel interested. You feel curious. You feel connected. Emotion strengthens memory. When something matters, the brain remembers it. Classrooms often remove emotion. Life adds it back. Another reason real life is the best classroom is timing. You learn when you need something. You hear a phrase. You use it soon after. This timing makes learning efficient. The brain says, "This is useful," and useful language stays. Real life also reduces pressure. You are not being tested. You are communicating. This removes fear. Fear blocks learning. Communication opens learning. You do not need to understand everything. You only need to understand enough to continue your day. This level of understanding is realistic, and realistic learning lasts. When English becomes part of life, learning feels lighter. You are not adding a new task. You are using what already exists. Life is happening anyway. English can happen inside it. That is why real life is the best classroom for English. Daily routines can become learning moments. You do not need extra time. You do not need a special schedule. You only need attention. Your day already has patterns. You wake up, you get ready, you go to work, you eat, you rest, you sleep. These moments repeat every day, and repetition is perfect for learning. When you wake up, you can listen. A short audio, a familiar voice, a few minutes. You do not need full focus. You only need to let English enter your ears. When you get ready, English can stay with you. You hear sounds, you hear rhythm, you hear familiar words. This gentle exposure adds up. When you commute, you can listen again. Not to learn new things, but to repeat. Repetition turns sound into familiarity. Familiarity turns into understanding. During work, you can notice small things. A word on a screen, a phrase in a message, a sign, a short conversation. You do not need to stop working. You only need to notice. Noticing is learning. When you eat, you can relax. Relaxed moments are good for listening. The brain is open. The body is calm. This is a good time for English to enter. After work, you may feel tired. This is not a problem. You do not need heavy study. You can listen passively. Passive listening still helps. It keeps English close. Before sleep, you can repeat again. The same audio, the same voice, the same message. This repetition prepares the brain. During sleep, the brain organizes. Learning continues without effort. Daily routines do not need to change. You change how you use them. You do not add English on top of life. You weave English into life. This makes learning sustainable. You do not feel guilty. You do not feel behind. You feel connected. Over time, these small moments create a habit. Habits are powerful. They do not depend on motivation. They depend on routine. When English becomes part of routine, learning continues without stress. This is how daily life becomes a teacher, quietly, naturally, every day. Small daily exposure beats long study sessions. Not sometimes, most of the time. Many learners believe they need long hours to make progress. They think, if I study for 3 hours, I will improve more. But learning does not work this way. The brain prefers short and frequent contact. It prefers consistency. Small exposure keeps English close. Long sessions push English far apart. When exposure is small and daily, the brain stays familiar. It does not forget. It does not restart. Each day connects to the last one. This connection is powerful. Long study sessions often feel heavy. You sit, you focus, you push. After a while, your mind becomes tired. Tired minds do not learn well. They survive the session, but they do not absorb deeply. Small exposure does not exhaust the brain. It fits naturally into your energy level. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, a short listen. These moments are easy to repeat. Repetition is what builds learning. Small daily exposure also reduces resistance. You do not need to prepare. You do not need to wait for motivation. You simply begin. This makes learning more reliable. Long sessions depend on mood. If you feel tired, you skip. If you feel busy, you delay. Then guilt appears. Guilt damages motivation. Small exposure avoids this cycle. You never feel behind. You always feel connected. Another reason small exposure works better is memory. The brain remembers better when learning is spaced. Daily exposure creates spacing. Long sessions create overload. Overload pushes information away. Spacing lets information stay. Small exposure also supports real life. You can listen while cooking, while driving, while walking, while resting. English fits around your life. It does not compete with it. This balance keeps learning sustainable. Over time, small daily exposure creates momentum. Momentum is stronger than motivation. Motivation comes and goes. Momentum keeps moving. Learning English does not require big sacrifices. It requires small consistency. And small consistency, repeated daily, always wins. That is why small daily exposure beats long study sessions. Learning English does not need to feel busy. It does not need to feel stressful. Many learners feel overwhelmed. They think, I have no time. I am too tired. My life is already full. This feeling is common, but stress does not come from English. Stress comes from how we think about learning. When learning feels like an extra job, pressure appears. Pressure creates resistance. Resistance makes learning hard. Learning becomes easier when English fits into life, not on top of life. You do not need to add more tasks. You only need to change how you use time you already have. For example, you already listen to music. You already watch videos. You already scroll. You already relax. English can replace or gently join these moments. No extra effort. When English becomes part of relaxation, stress disappears. You are not forcing focus. You are allowing exposure. Allowing is easier than forcing. Another reason learning feels stressful is expectation. You expect fast results. You expect constant improvement. When progress feels slow, stress appears. But slow progress is normal. Real learning is quiet. It happens under the surface. When you accept this, stress reduces. You stop checking, you stop judging, you simply continue. Learning without stress also means lowering intensity. You do not need to understand everything. You do not need to remember everything. You only need to stay connected. Connection is enough. Stress often comes from comparison. You see others, you feel behind, but everyone's life is different. Your pace is not wrong, it is yours. Learning English should support your life, not fight it. When learning feels light, you return more often. When you return often, learning grows. Stress pushes you away. Calm pulls you back. So if English feels heavy, pause. Not learning, but pressure. Remove pressure and learning becomes possible again. English does not require a stressful life. It can grow inside a normal one, quietly, naturally, at your pace. Consistency matters more than motivation. Motivation is emotional. It comes and goes. Some days you feel inspired. Some days you feel tired. This is normal. If learning depends on motivation, learning becomes unstable. You study when you feel good. You stop when you feel low. This creates gaps. Gaps slow learning. Consistency removes this problem. Consistency is not about intensity. It is about return. You come back again and again, even for a short time, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. This return keeps English alive. The brain remembers what it meets often, not what it meets rarely. Motivation feels powerful, but it is unreliable. Consistency feels simple, but it is strong. Consistency builds habit. Habit does not ask how you feel. It happens because it is part of life. When English becomes a habit, learning continues without effort. Consistency also reduces stress. You no longer think, I must study today. You think, this is just what I do. This mindset is calming. Consistency also protects confidence. You do not feel behind. You know you will return tomorrow. This trust keeps you steady. Motivation often creates pressure. You want to do a lot when you feel motivated. Then you do nothing when motivation fades. Consistency avoids this cycle. It keeps learning balanced. Small steps, regular steps. These steps add up quietly. Over time, consistency creates results that motivation alone cannot. Fluency is not built on excitement. It is built on presence, being there, showing up again and again. When you live your life, consistency fits naturally. You do not force big changes. You add small ones, and small consistent actions always win. That is why consistency matters more than motivation. Busy days are part of life. They do not mean learning must stop. Many learners think, if I am busy, I cannot learn English today. This thought disconnects learning. But learning does not need full attention every day. It only needs connection. Staying connected does not mean studying. It means keeping English close. On busy days, energy is low. Time is short. So the goal is not progress. The goal is presence. You stay present with English, even briefly. One short audio, one familiar voice, one sentence. This is enough. Connection is more important than intensity. Busy days are not the time to push. They are the time to maintain. Maintenance keeps learning alive. You do not build muscles every day, but you move so they do not disappear. Learning works the same way. On busy days, passive listening is powerful. You let English play in the background while cooking, while driving, while resting. You do not test yourself. You do not focus hard. You let sound enter naturally. This sound keeps patterns familiar. Familiarity prevents forgetting. Busy days also require kindness. You do not blame yourself. You do not say, I failed today. You say, today was full. This kindness protects motivation. Staying connected also means lowering expectations. You do not expect clarity. You do not expect progress. You expect continuity. Continuity is success. Even 1 minute counts because it keeps the habit intact. When habits break, learning feels heavy again. Connection keeps habits light. Busy days will come again. That is life. When English fits even on busy days, learning becomes sustainable. You do not wait for perfect days. You learn inside real ones. And that is how English stays with you for the long term. Learning English should support your life, not replace it. Your life is already full. It has work. It has family. It has responsibilities. It has rest. English does not need to compete with these things. It can live beside them. Many learners believe learning English requires sacrifice. They think, I must give something up. But giving up life creates stress. Stress pushes learning away. When learning supports life, it feels lighter. You do not feel divided. You do not feel torn between learning and living. You feel aligned. Alignment is important because learning is a long journey. It needs balance. When English fits your life, you stay longer. You do not burn out. You do not quit. You continue. Learning that replaces life creates resistance. You feel forced. You feel tired. Learning that supports life creates cooperation. You feel curious. You feel open. English can help you enjoy life. You understand more content. You connect with more people. You access more ideas. This enrichment should feel natural, not heavy. When English becomes part of life, it grows quietly. You do not notice every change, but over time, you realize something. You understand more. You react faster. You feel calmer. This progress did not require sacrifice. It required integration. English integrated into your life becomes sustainable. Sustainable learning lasts. And learning that lasts is the only learning that matters. You do not need to live for English. You let English live with you, side by side, step by step. This balance is how real learning happens while you live your life. You've reached the end of today's episode. Before you leave, I want you to remember one simple thing. You did something good for yourself today. You listened. You stayed. You didn't give up. And that matters. Learning English is not about being fast. It is not about being perfect. It is about showing up again and again. Some days will feel easy. Some days will feel hard. Both are normal. Progress does not always feel exciting. Sometimes it feels quiet. Sometimes you don't notice it at all. But learning is still happening. Every minute you listen, your ears are learning new sounds. Your mind is learning new patterns. Your confidence is growing, even if you cannot see it yet. You don't need to push yourself. You don't need to compare yourself to others. You are on your own path, and your pace is enough. Let English be part of your daily life. Listen while you rest. Listen while you work. Listen while you live your normal day. If this episode helped you feel calmer, more focused, or more motivated, then your time here was well spent. Come back when you can. Come back when you need a quiet space to learn. My name is Linda, and this is Podcast for English. Thank you for learning with me. Until next time, keep going and never give up. Believe in yourself, because you are stronger than you think.